That's right. I don't have to pay the gas price to drive from North Anson to wherever I want to go shopping because I got it all around me. I don't have to pay the expensive CMP bill every month. I heard it's pretty expensive this month. I just seen it on the news. I don't have to pay cable, internet. I don't have to pay phone. I don't have to pay for the cords of wood that I would have been burning. I don't have to pay for the propane that I was going to use. And I'm not able to help the community. So I guess it's got its pros and cons. However, in the long run, everybody is starting to see that the problem, What? It wasn't me? Exactly. No, I'm not the one that created the problem. You see, I was found to have been harassed, abused, and harassed some more where I was living in Vermont. And I called my uncle and I asked him about going to the house in North Anson, and he said he didn't have a problem with it. And he said, well, what do you want with the house? And I said, well, I want to buy it. And he told me, oh, well, then why don't you buy it? I said, well, because I haven't talked to you about it yet. And he said, well, that's because you haven't been here to see me yet. And that's how we talked. And that was like, I hadn't seen him in, oh my good Lord, years. So I said, okay, well, if it's all right, then I'll have the camper put up there and I'll meet you there Sunday. And that's just what happened. That's exactly what happened. And I still have on my cell phone the call history. Okay? And so on May 2nd, my trailer got there May 1st. I got there May 2nd and met with Uncle. And Timmy stopped by. Timmy Dickey, across the street, which is Uncle's blood nephew. He stopped by. And so did Somerset County Sheriff's. Yep, the little deputy. He stopped by. He pulled up to the driveway like he was eating as a boss hog or somebody. I don't know, but, he felt like he was on fire, I think. He thought he looked pretty, confident of himself when he walked around my house. I happen to believe it was the same one that illegally entered into my home. And I reported it to Somerset County. And you see, everything that I've reported to the police or the county, it all disappeared off my Google. But I'm here to tell you about it again. And I got everything in transcript anyway. So it didn't do them any good. All it did was clean out my Google account, okay? Trust me when I tell you that. And so, knowing that I had permission, I had an agreement with my uncle, and then he was frivolously locked up. And I tell you frivolously because he didn't do the bullshit, and they wouldn't allow him to have any testimony of witnesses. His court-appointed attorney never contacted me back, so I'm calling the Board of Overseers of the attorneys today. You see, I had to sue an attorney here in Skowhegan, Maine, years ago. Her name was Pat Danisenko Washburn with the Board of Overseers of the Bar Association because she did me wrong. Now, I am taking this to the Board of Overseers of the Bar Association in Bangor, Maine again in regards to my uncle's attorney, which will lead to an investigation into Somerset County, not only the police, but the town, and then it's going to lead into all the false statements that were accepted by the police. It's going to look into what the conversation that I had with his probation officer's supervisor. It's also going to look into the people and reveal the history of the people that wrote these reports against him all these years ago and what their lives have been like for the past years and what the grown-ups' lives were before he got convicted of doing something and spending his years in jail, and now the home is burned, okay? So we're going to have all that looked into, which I've already got the records, and I've got witnesses to tell the character of these people, okay? So yeah, all the witnesses against him. And just think about it. Now, his daughter, Janine, Uncle's daughter, Janine, tells me that, well, others came forward, Kim. Well, why, if somebody thought that they were being molested by him years ago, why didn't they come forward then? Did they just all want a piece of the story or something? I mean, you know, birds of a feather flock together, and they're all going to be revealed, because I'm going to get the name. I'm going to find out that case, because it's not going to be confidential once the Board of Overseers of the Bar Association gets involved this morning. Okay? I had written them, and now I'm going to call them, because they're aware that I wrote them, and now that we can follow it up with a phone conversation, and then they'll set for a mediation, and they'll get all of my information or request it, and then I can tell them I've already sent it to you, so that's another jump ahead. What I mean is all the statements that I've written, all the call logs, all of the documentation that I have to prove against Somerset County, as well as the neighbors and the town officials of Anson, as well as the fire department, okay, volunteers. I've got information on all of them, all being shared not only to Washington, D.C., but again, to the Board of Overseers of the Bar Association, because that's where it needs to initiate. And so knowing that he's been sitting in jail, then the home got burned, and they didn't even ask me, because why? They knew that I was living in that home when they condemned it. That's why they condemned it. Then they turned around and this is the town office of Anson employees, telling American Red Cross that I didn't live there, thinking that I wasn't going to get any assistance. Well, what happened was I did get assistance down in Augusta, and I was able to tell my story there. So they're aware of it. They're mandated reporters. And they did not do what? Have anybody contact me in regards to it. And then, so that's another cover-up. And I believe I shared those statutes with you, but I'm going to give you a whole list of statutes after this. Anyhow, so everybody, all these officials are aware, right? Now I'm going to subpoena all of them. They're going to be questioned anyways, but when they're questioned, these investigators are going to be asking, did Miss House come to you and tell you? And they're going to say, oh, wait, they can't say no, because I always got a witness with me. Well, how do I have a witness? I have my cell phone. That is my witness, because they don't use God as my witness, so I have to use the devil's advocate as a witness. How about that? Anyhow, we've got all the proof and information. And I'm just letting you all know that with the backgrounds of the people that were involved in burning my home, stealing my chickens, violating my rights, trespassing on my home, the deputy that entered into my home, and the fact is, they would not have burned my barn, the pool room, or the shed if it wasn't for the fact that they did not know where the cameras were. They did not know where the cameras were on the house. All they do know was that there was surveillance. But do you not understand? I don't always have to use video. I have God as my witness, and I have other eyes. That's what we do. Do you not know that before computers and cameras, there was eyes and witness? There you go.